What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm very excited to share with you my first ever budget with me video for our July 2021 budget. Now before I get into it, I just want to say a major thank you to you guys for all the love and support you guys showed me on my video that I posted earlier this week. I just shared with you guys that I quit my job as an attorney, and I was really nervous about that video because I wasn't sure exactly how everyone was going to respond. I thought a lot of people would be supportive, but like 99% of people were very supportive. And not only were you guys supportive, you guys said like the most kind, encouraging things that I could have dreamed for. Like, I was so overwhelmed by the response. So I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys. It really means a lot to me. So I've been wanting to do budget with me videos for a very long time. And if you regularly watch my videos, then you know that I have spreadsheets for pretty much everything. I'm documenting our debt-free journey here on YouTube for my husband and I to pay off over $300,000 of debt. And I show our real numbers every single month on our debt payoff tracking spreadsheet, and then our annual financial goal tracking spreadsheet where we show all of our retirement contributions and everything. And I have been working on a budget spreadsheet for over a year, and I finally feel like it is in good shape, good enough to share with you guys. So with all that said, this budget spreadsheet that I'm using in today's video will be available for purchase in my Etsy shop. Finally, my Etsy shop will be linked in the video description, and it will be available for purchase on Saturday, July 3rd. So if you guys are watching this video that date or later, it will be available for purchase. Also, I'm going to be running a sale for my Etsy shop. I have never done a sale before, and I'm really excited for this. I'm going to be doing a 20% off sale for my whole Etsy shop, and that sale is going to run from July 3rd to July 5th through 4th of July weekend. So if you've been thinking about getting started with your budget or your debt payoff tracking or any of the spreadsheets that you see me use, then now would be a great time to get those spreadsheets. Also, it's halfway through the year. We'll have 6 months left in the year to work on your financial goals, so it's a good time to reset, rededicate, and get going towards all your financial goals. So without further ado, let's jump into the budget. All right, this is my budget for July 2021, and I'm really zoomed out right now because I just wanted to give you guys an overview so you could kind of see what everything looks like. But I'm going to zoom way in. I am going to explain a little bit of how certain things work, but there's just not enough time in this type of video to go over all the details of how the budget spreadsheet works. So when I launch the spreadsheet, just like I've done with my other spreadsheets, there will be a detailed video tutorial that goes along with it that explains everything about how to use it, how to set it up, how to fill it out, you know, and everything like that. Okay, so zooming in a bunch, first of all, you'll notice up here there's a thing that says left to budget and left to spend actual. So when you put in your income, that left to budget amount will say the same as your total income, and then as you put in dollar amounts into your budget, you'll know how much you have left to budget. So that's how that works. And then as you enter your income during the month, so I have this blocked out, but let's say you enter $1,000 of income that's come in, you'll see that you have $1,000 left to spend, and then as you spend that income, it'll go down. So that's how that part works. So it says left to budget and left to spend is 0. Left to budget because I've budgeted everything exactly, and left to spend because I haven't started entering numbers for the month. Okay, so our income this month is $8,620. I'm never gonna show our income. I never have, between me and my husband, how much we make, but that's how much our household is bringing in this month. Next, I have pay yourself first. I like having this section first because you should be focusing on paying yourself first, focusing on savings and retirement. So I like to put it first. So it's one of the first things I'm thinking about as I'm budgeting and as I'm going through the month. Right now, we are switching things up a little bit because this is the first month where I am not getting a full-time paycheck. Like I said, if you watched my last video, I just quit my job. So we are kind of figuring things out, how our budget's gonna look. But for right now, what we're kind of planning to do is just put a little bit into my daughter's college savings every month, and then also split whatever extra we have in our budget between our brokerage accounts and extra debt payments. So for half of what we have for extra this month, it's $336. So that's gonna go into brokerage. We're gonna put $50 into my daughter's 529 plan, and that's all the pay yourself first we're doing this month. This is a net budget spreadsheet, and when you purchase it on Etsy, you will get both a net and a gross budgeting spreadsheet, and you'll get annual net and gross budgeting spreadsheets. I think I'm gonna alternate between the two each month because I kind of like looking at it both ways so you guys can kind of see how it works both ways. But anyway, this would be higher if we were doing the gross budget because there's money that comes out of my husband's paycheck for retirement each month, and so if we were doing the gross spreadsheet, this pay yourself first section would have a lot more in it. But just wanted to mention that. Next is the debt section. So this is, you know, the section that hopefully we'll be rid of one day. But for now, I have our 3 debts here: my husband's student loan, my student loan, and our home equity line of credit. I used to have the home equity line of credit over here in the fixed expenses section, which I'll talk about next, but I decided to add it to like our debt snowball and try to pay off early. So I moved it over to this section, and that minimum payment is $75, and then we're putting another $325 towards that one this month because that's the debt that we're targeting right now. And so, you know, there's $325 extra here and $336 extra there. So that's, you know, about half and half. It's not exactly, but I split the money between our extra money between those 2 accounts this month. And if you guys watch my debt payoff updates, this is how I know how much we've planned to pay off for the month, because I just look at the total debt payments that's in our budget, and then that's the number I tell you guys when I do my debt payoff updates, and I say, you know, this is what we're planning to pay next month. These are our goals. All right, moving on to the fixed expenses section. I don't have like a ton to say about this. We've got our, you know, just like our regular expenses. We really tried to minimize these over the last year and a half as we've been working on debt payoff and working towards me not working, so we could minimize all of our expenses. I will say I put our mortgage over here, even though that's technically a debt. One, because it's not just our mortgage, it's mortgage and property taxes, so that's not all just a debt. And our mortgage, we're not trying to pay off early, and if we didn't have a mortgage, we would have rent. So to me, it makes sense to put in this section and not in the debt section. Other than that, the things that are in this section are things that cost the same amount every single month and don't really fluctuate unless like once a year the charges go up or something. The only exception to that is this unexpected. I put this unexpected of $50 that we give ourselves as a little buffer each month. That can fluctuate, but the thing is, if we don't use it, we don't like roll it over and they get 100 the next month. It's just like use it or lose it. So that's why I put it in our fixed expenses, not in the sinking funds, which I'll talk about next. Okay, so finally we've got the sinking funds. And so if you're not familiar with sinking funds, I will link my sinking funds video right up here, where I talk about how we use sinking funds and what they are. But basically they're just different buckets of money that we set aside money in each month, and sometimes we spend money out of those buckets each month, and sometimes we save them for long periods of time depending on what the purpose is. Some months we contribute to all of them, some months we don't contribute to certain ones, like this month, and so I'll go through all of them and kind of give you a rundown of what each of them is for. So first of all, we've got our mini emergency fund. This is our checking account buffer. So we have a $20,000 emergency fund, and we keep half of it in our checking account. So at the beginning of the month, when we're expecting $8,000 of income and we've got a checking account buffer of $10,000, we really could pay every single bill for the entire month on the first of the month, and that allows me to pay big chunks of debt at the beginning of the month. I don't have to wait till like the last week of the month for a certain paycheck to come in, and I just like doing it that way. It's not really a mini emergency fund in that it's like half of our emergency fund for us, but let's say you had a $10,000 emergency fund and you put $3,000 in your checking account as a buffer and then the rest in like a separate savings account. That's how, you know, we used to do it when our emergency fund was smaller. So you can see here this month we've budgeted nothing for our emergency fund. I've got a section for goals over here. So we've got, for emergency fund, we want to save $10,000 for the mini emergency fund, and that is done. So we're not going to be contributing any more to that for a while, unless we need to spend it for something, emergency comes up. And then most of these we've got like a monthly amount that we have a goal for because it's something that we're spending, we're not really saving up. And then finally down here, this is the Christmas fund, which you'll see in a second. But that has a goal of obviously funding by Christmas. So, okay, next we've got groceries. Now, we budget $1,000 a month. And before you guys lose it over that, I just want to explain, this includes not only groceries, but any household items that we buy that I normally would get at the grocery store. To me, I don't want to have to look at my receipt and separate like what's food versus what's paper towels and like toothpaste. So I just lump everything into one category for groceries. And so it's groceries, household items, and any takeout. So between all that, we budget $1,000 a month. We still struggle with that. We yeah, that's just something that we struggle with. But yeah, that is our budget, and you guys may think that's like way too much, or you may think that's very reasonable. I don't know, but that's what works for us. Next, we've got our vacation fund. So right now we're not contributing anything towards that, but it is a huge, huge goal of mine to start contributing to it again before the end of the year. We want to contribute about $250 a month to that fund, so we have about $3,000 a year to spend on vacations. And so it's in the budget for 2022, but for the second half of 2021, there'll definitely be some months where we're not putting anything into the vacation fund, such as this month. Next, we've got J spending and L spending. That's spending money for me and my husband. Again, we get $200 each a month. You guys may think that's way too much, that we're wasting money while we have all this debt. Other people may think that's reasonable. Doesn't really matter to me. That's what works for us. Personal finance is personal, and that's the amount of money that we feel comfortable with, that we can do all the things we want throughout the month and not feel like we're restricted. Budgets are supposed to give you the space and the permission to spend, not make you feel restricted. So that's the number that we've landed on that makes us each feel comfortable. Just so you know, this includes any clothes that we buy, any haircuts, any activities that we do, you know, Starbucks, anything personal spending wise that we spend money on, which includes for me like skincare and makeup and everything. So my husband has a lot more leeway in his $200 because he doesn't use all the lady items that I use. But anyway, he treats me to things sometimes from his fund because he knows that. Next, we have my daughter's expenses. So she gets $150 a month for everything: diapers, toys, clothes, all that. And we are trying for baby number 2, so we started setting $50 aside a month for future baby expenses for another baby. We've been doing that for about, I don't know, I think like 4 or 5 months now, even before we started trying to get pregnant. So next, we've got my cat's expenses, my cat Miles. He has, you know, annual vet visits, he's got food, he's got his like flea treatment Revolution. So we added up everything that we spend on him and averaged that out over 12 months, and that came out to $150 a month. He does have special prescription food, so I would like to spend less on him, but we do what we have to do for our fur babies to keep them healthy. Next, we have gas. We're budgeting $100 a month. Last month we budgeted $100 a month and we went over, so we may need to raise that, but I'm just gonna go one more month and see if we can swing $100 a month. I know gas prices are going way up, but we'll see. Next, we have gifts. We put aside $100 a month for gifts, and home decor, $25 a month. This may seem silly since we have so much debt again, but like, for example, my daughter ruined our blinds, our vertical blinds. She broke them all, and so we had to get a curtain rod and a curtain for our slider downstairs because it was just like, we had no privacy out of our slider, and I was like, where do we pull this money from? So we decided to do like a home decor budget. Usually it's just like replacing broken things, or like the thing that my daughter did. But we just started doing this a few months ago, so it's only 25 bucks. But anyway, car maintenance and house maintenance, we're not contributing anything to those right now because I just didn't want to this month. I don't know. House maintenance doesn't have much in it, but car maintenance has like almost $600, I think, and we barely drive anywhere, and our cars just got oil changes, so I didn't feel like we needed to keep contributing to that this month. Town water and sewer and utilities. So basically these payments fluctuate, and our town water and sewer come out quarterly, or one of them's twice a year and the other one's quarterly. I can't remember which is which. So we average out all those bills and we put those into sinking funds every month, so we don't have to worry like when that bill comes up that we have to come up with $150 that month for water or whatever it is. And then finally, like I mentioned before, we have a Christmas sinking fund, so we're putting $100 a month to hopefully have $1,200 by the time Christmas rolls around, so we don't put anything on a credit card like we've done in years prior. I'm not going to talk about this section. If you guys end up watching my tutorial on how the spreadsheet works, I'll explain what that is, but it's just a way to like balance your checkbook kind of thing. And then finally, this is like my favorite part of the spreadsheet, which is a little nice visual of where all your money is going the month. So it's got the 4 categories: pay yourself first, debt, fixed expenses, and sinking funds, and for budgeted, and then for actual. So right now there's nothing here in the actual because I didn't enter any numbers yet for the month, because the month hasn't started yet. But for the budgeted, you can see 37% of our after-tax pay is going towards debt this month, and 29% to fixed expenses, 29% to sinking funds, and 4.5% to pay yourself first. So like I mentioned at the beginning, if we did the gross version of this budget, that pay yourself first section would be closer to 15% because we would have the contribution to my husband's 401k showing as like in the pay yourself first section, and there would be a fifth category which would be taxes, and so you could see what portion of your income is going to taxes. So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm really excited to be doing this budget with me videos finally. Like I said at the beginning, if you want to purchase the budget spreadsheet that I showed you guys today, it will be available for purchase in my Etsy shop on July 3rd or after, and it is an instant download to Google Sheets just like all my other spreadsheets. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about our budget, then let me know. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel, and if you want to follow along on our financial journey, see us pay off debt and budget and all that good stuff and have some fun while doing it, then make sure you hit that red subscribe button. I'd love to have you as a subscriber, and I'll see you guys soon in my next video. Bye.